Hey everybody, welcome back to The Flame and the Flood. And we're working on the Animal Friend Trophy. This is the second video. We're going to pick up right where we left off in the last one. And as I begin playing this, I realize that I did not take care of that ant sting. I had aloe. The whole time I had some aloe in my collection, and I also picked some up right afterwards. I never ended up using it. But here we go. We're going to use some aloe. You want to take care of even those little things, ants and little scratches. You want to take care of them because they could definitely turn into something else. You see, I just ate some ash cake there. Something to point out, especially when you're going through this particular run through when you don't have a lot of meat to worry about. Something like ash cakes, they never spoil. So keep that in mind. You know, if you have a choice between eating, you know, if you do come upon some meat, cooked meat, or some grubs, some other worms, and even some of the plant life that you get can spoil eventually. So keep that in mind when choosing what you're going to eat. As you can see, I'm struggling with these wolves, and this is a bit that I could have actually cut out. I chose to keep it in here because I want to show you what happens here. These wolves kind of get the upper hand, and one more hit. I'm trying to get some water, trying to get what I need and get out of there before, and there they go. Now I'm exhausted. So this is what you need to do. Real simple. If you don't want to die and start from the last checkpoint, all you got to do is just quit out, continue, and you will start right at the beginning of any island, or it also saves when you sleep. So if you sleep in a church or in any, you know, little shack or or bus that you come across, when you sleep, it makes an autosave. So either one of those, if you just stop, go to the main menu, and hit continue, then you don't have to worry about dealing with that kind of stuff. So round 2, we're going to take care of the ant sting, and we're going to eat the perishable grubs instead of the ash cake. We're going to hold on to the ash cake for a while. Eventually I'm going to get around to eating that. Also made a lot more stuff at the beginning. Every time you get off, every time you're by your raft, that's the best time to craft. Because you don't have to worry about an animal coming up on you like a boar or a wolf. And also, if you're storing half of your goods on your raft, then you can craft everything that's... See, there's the grubs. I'm moving them up. I'm going to eat them instead. But it makes more sense to craft when you're on the dock, because then you have access to all of the items in all of your inventories. You can always craft anything that Aesop's holding. You can craft with it, but I feel like at some points when you need, say, aloe or bandages, if they're in Aesop's bag, you have to move them to your bag for some silly reason. And here's the game being a little difficult, not letting me steer where I want to go. Now, something else I wanted to mention. See, I actually took notes this time. Went through the playthrough and made sure, because as I'm making this on Share Factory, the screen that you guys are seeing is a lot smaller for me, so sometimes I can't notice when I'm doing certain things. So something else I wanted to point out, on that last island, one of the things that I picked up was salt. Salt is its main purpose is for making jerky. And in this playthrough, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to make jerky. And if you get meat, you don't necessarily want to turn it into jerky because it's 15 points less of nutrition. So I would say don't even bother with salt for this playthrough. But if you are finding that you can't get to a fire and you want to make jerky so that you have at least some food, that's up to you. But what I wanted to point out is don't eat salt. It is edible, but don't eat it because it will drain your thirst way down, and you'll need to drink something pretty quick before you get so thirsty that you become dehydrated. So keep away from that. In this region, you're going to start coming upon workbenches like we have here. If you are able to get your hands on multiple rabbit skins, even though we're not killing animals, but if you get lucky and maybe some snakes, kill some rabbits, or if really that's the only really way you're going to get rabbits in this scenario. But if you happen to get rabbit skins, you're going to need to make a choice of how you want to use those, because you don't have a lot of storage, so pouches are useful. 2 rabbit skins and a stitching kit will make a pouch, and will give you 4 more slots in your inventory in your personal bag, which is good. You can use them to make clothing, the same amount, basically. 2 rabbit skins and a stitching kit will make a jacket, I believe. Maybe it's 3. Actually, it is 3. I think 2 for pants. And that will keep you a little bit warmer. But if you wanna make sure that you're warm enough, then you're gonna want to go for wolf or bear or the elder or white wolf. But again, you don't really get to make a lot of choices in this playthrough because you can't kill any animals yourself. But if you can set it up to get some of these skins, certainly use them to your benefit. But as far as rabbits, you have 3 choices. Like I said, the pouch to increase your storage, a garment to wear to keep yourself a little bit warmer, or a leather kit. I believe it's 1 rabbit skin and 1 nuts and bolts. Maybe it's 2 rabbit skins. Made at a workbench can then be used to make with another animal skin warmer clothing. So keep in mind, as you're not killing any animals, you have to either assume that you're going to get your hands on some wolf or bear skin, which bear skin, forget it, that's not going to happen. But a wolf, you could get a bear to kill a wolf and steal the skin. So you could do that if you got the room for it, which you won't if you don't have pouch upgrades. But if you have the room for it and you want to hold on to your rabbit skins and make the decision later on, that's up to you. But eventually you're going to need warmer clothes. Eventually you're going to need more space to store things. And if the option comes to get nicely warm clothes with wolf skin, then leather kits is going to be your choice. Along the way there, we got a repair patch for completing one of the challenges that was, let's see, could have been Fixer Upper, I believe, is what that one was. You always want to be grabbing these little challenges because they could help you out, especially in this run through when you can't get your hands on leather kits, meat, and raft upgrade items, hardware, frames, and schematics. Always good to have. Always good to have anything extra that you can get. But most of the stuff, the nuts and bolts and the lumber, you're going to get a lot of it in this, starting in this region. You're going to see nuts and bolts inside broken down cars, in hardware stores, liquor stores, and the third, what is the other one? There's medical, there's like little hospitals, or clinics, I guess they're called in this, that you can raid. They sometimes have nuts and bolts. Anything in this region, and most of the regions from here on out will have some things. I believe, yeah, we're gonna head straight to the marina in hopes to finally do some upgrading. But the bad news is I got no schematics, and I'm going to find out in a little bit here. I at least have enough to make a couple frames and a couple hardware. It looks like 2 each. But I got no schematics. So you always want to be on the lookout for this kind of stuff, because the more you take care of your raft, the better your time is going to be. It's going to be easier to get around. You're going to have less to worry about as far as crashing into things, and you can also put some really useful items on your raft that's going to help you out. As I said before, the number one thing that we're going to see later on is the stove. The stove, and of course you have to have cattails for tinder so you can kindle it, but the stove is going to help us out in a bunch of ways. Trying to get over there, it's not letting me. Yeah, I mean, the other thing you could do if you really want to make sure you hit every spot, is to get the motor, which is 3 schematics, 3 frames, 3 hardware, and then when you have the motor, you can actually guide the raft almost against the current. So that might, help you get around a little bit better, and certainly avoid getting hit in some of the rapids that come up later on in the campaign. But I usually worry about the motor last, because it costs so much to put together, and there's so many other better things you can do. Usually the motor and the water filter are the last 2 that I usually go for. I don't normally bother with those until I know I need them, and for the most part, the motor, I only really use it when I'm trying to go maybe through Endless, or if I'm trying to get the 10 miles without stopping. Other than that, there's just not a lot of use for it. We got another task here, Fletcher. Now we're checking. Yeah, we got nothing to collect. See, Fletcher, craft 5 arrows to get the schematic. Boxer, make the box trap, and then stop bleeding. That one is going to be very useful, because you will definitely have to use a bandage to stop a cut, and from that you're going to get what was that? It was meat or something useful, something we definitely need. And then the arrows, crafting the arrows would be useful just to get a schematic, but you're going to come across a bunch of schematics. The problem with crafting arrows is you need a steel knife, and a steel knife can only be made once you have a boar hide, and you need to make it at a workbench. So chances are you're probably not gonna make a steel knife in this run, and you're not gonna be crafting arrows because you can't use arrows. So going through all that trouble just to get one schematic probably isn't gonna be on your list of things to do. But the areas in this region are the best for finding materials for your raft, your nuts and bolts, your lumber, and your schematics. And these little like ghost towns are really also good. Half of them, usually at least half of them, you can use for shelter. And so, you know, if you need to stop for a little bit, you can rest in any of these. Plenty of cars around to check for nuts and bolts, for lumber, for schematics, for sometimes rags. Lots of good stuff that you're definitely going to need in those. And then you got to watch out. Sometimes there's just tiny little toolboxes around too, and those could have anything in them. So always look around. Problem with this area, you have to listen for snakes, because snakes find it really easy to hide in these areas right here where there's a little bit of pavement, there's a little bit of ground, there's a little bit of cracks, and so they definitely find a nice place to hide. And then of course, if you sleep in one of these houses, then they'll move from wherever they were, and they'll go into a different spot. So you always have to be on the lookout and have the volume on, pay attention, and watch your dog, either Aesop or Daisy, whoever you choose, and they should be able to point out the snakes to you. Keep an eye out for that. So we're already starting to feel the cold here in Region 3. And we're still operating with, I think, yes, we have a full insulated outfit, head to toe, insulated items that we're wearing. I keep them safe. And there's the Meat Chef challenge. I guess they're called goals. Okay, we'll call them goals. So yeah, you're probably not going to get that. And the reward is dandelion tea. It's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. Because if you come across enough meat to fulfill that goal, then you're doing pretty good. But you don't want to push your chances of accidentally having the game consider you murdered an animal with all this meat that you're eating, because that does kind of go against the plan here. In the last video, I was talking about the NPCs that you can meet. Here's one of them, Magnolia, and she usually, in the campaign, usually just tells you about dandelion and sumac tea. Something else to consider. You also don't want to, if wolves are around or a boar, you don't want to start a conversation with an NPC, because it's hard to exit out of it. Once you start talking, you have to kind of go through the whole dialogue. And some of them, well, it's nice to have a conversation when you're very lonely out here on the waters. You don't want to die because, there's a snake back there. Again, I can't hear what's going on. I can only see when we run into snakes while I'm recording this. So as I said, steel knife, you need a boar hide. And what that does is it makes arrows and a bow pretty much the only items, I believe, that you need the steel knife for. So because we're not going to be using any weapons, that's one thing we don't need to worry about. The metal hammer, though, that's a useful tool. Just be aware that it uses 3 nuts and bolts. So if you were planning on making hardware or using it for a leather kit, again, you're not going to be making many leather kits. Just keep that in mind. Because you don't want to you don't want to waste your nuts and bolts if you're going to use them on other things. I'm not 100%. I meant to kind of research what the metal hammer does. I'm not 100% sure what it makes, because we're able to craft pretty much everything before we make that. And I know it doesn't help you make leather kits, because you can make those already. It doesn't help you make the bow and arrow. I'll have to figure that out for the next video. Pulling into a little fishing section here. Some yucca, some dandelion, some aloe, probably some stitching kit materials, and a shelter if you need it. I usually, whenever I get fishing line and fish hook, I usually just instantly make a stitching kit, so you're not wasting 2 slots of inventory. Quick visit there, a little bit of sleep. We're gonna head off to the next area. And again, you don't have to stop at all these places, especially like the fishing area. You're not going to be making that many more clothes, so if you just want to get as far as you can, as fast as you can, don't stop unless you need to. And at this point, I mean, what's great about those is, though, that there's a lot of plants there. So of course we got some yucca, we got some dandelion which you can eat, and we got some other plants there, so it's useful in that regard. But if you just want to get as far as you can, as fast as you can, I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff. A jar and salt, we have enough jars right now, and as I said before, salt's not really worth it. Plus we don't have any room in our inventory, so we're going to clean out some stuff, which we have no single slots here. We don't have nothing. We finally have schematics though, so we'll be doing some raft upgrades soon. And just kind of moving things into places that they already are, so that we can save some spaces here. Plenty of saplings. Probably not going to end up using too many, but like I said before, the saplings and the cattails are like the base ingredients to a lot of the things you're going to make, so it's good to always have a surplus of them. And cattails, again, like I said in the previous video, are good nutrition. Can't eat saplings though. There's an extra fish hook, I think. Yeah, move it up to combine it, or get rid of it. I guess I got rid of it. This is, inventory management. Sometimes it's a little boring to see, but sometimes it's very necessary to just go piece by piece and figure out what you need and where you can put it and what you can do with it. Yeah, the unfortunate thing about when you want to discard something in your bag, you have to do each one at a time, like spoiled meat, or as I just got rid of a whole bunch of saplings there. The nuts and bolts, that's definitely something you want to keep a hold of. You don't want to get rid of, you don't want to drop too many things. And I mean, the other great thing is you can drop it, it'll be on the dock in a container, and you can always pick it up later. If you needed to free up 2 spaces to get 2 items to combine them to make something else, you could go right back to what you discarded and pick it up, which is really great about this game. Many inventory management games, once you discard something, that's it, it's gone. It's gone for good. And you don't want to, You don't want to give anything up unless you absolutely... well, so I took the salt anyway. I don't know why I took the salt. It's not really going to be any benefit. Probably because I was so used to, in the last run, grabbing every salt and making as much jerky as I could. So maybe that was my rationale there. But, oh! I didn't even realize we have the Boar King here. I did not even realize that Boar King goal came up when we came on this island. He's a big guy, isn't he? Oh boy. That is the Boar King, right? I think it is. Not much benefit from killing the Boar King. I think you get 2 pieces of meat and 2 boar hides. But you need 3 spear traps to kill him. I've never tried to kill him with arrows. And obviously, it is not part of what we're doing here to worry about him. So, it is nice that they add a few kind of surprise animals in this game, even if they are just, you know, the Boar King is just a giant boar, and the Elder Wolf and the White Wolf are just reskinned, and also larger versions of the wolf character, you know, animal model, I guess I should say. So now we have some schematics, and we have some frames and hardware. We have extra nuts and bolts, extra lumber. So we're going to start fixing up our raft here and adding a couple things that are dearly, dearly needed. We also have a repair patch, which we can use. And just kind of deciding what to do here. We're going to go with storage and sturdy frame. I was just trying to decide which what was the most cost effective here, because I thought that there was 3 different upgrades that only needed 1 schematic, 1 frame, 1 hardware, but I guess it's just the rudder and raft storage. So I just wanted to double check that there was nothing else that I was going to be missing out on, and went ahead and got the storage and the sturdy frame. Sturdy frame basically just kind of gives you a little bit more damage resistance when you hit stuff. You lose a lot less. As you can see, we've got extra spaces down in the raft stash. Is that what it says? So hard to see here, but in your raft storage, you've got 2 more lines down there. It doubles the storage amount, which is really nice, especially on here when you have no opportunities to really work on getting your own bag extended. The water. Good time to fill up your water bottles, or jars, I should say. We're going to head off to a church, and I believe, is this where it is? Maybe it's the next island. Let's see what we have here. We have wolves. Oh, that's what it is. Okay, 3 wolves. I decided not to bother with them. Or do I? Let's see. Oh, And we're heading off to the next place. Especially with 3 of them and you can't do anything about them. You know, you're setting yourself up for either getting a little hurt and using some bandages, or you know, getting hurt enough that you have to either head back to the main menu and continue, or start from the beginning of the region, which would lose a lot of progress. So let's not bother with that. Again, 3 wolves. It does seem sometimes that the animals you find on one island, and especially the special characters, the special animals, the rare animals, I should say. It seems like if you don't kill any of the animals and you go on to the next island, they like follow you there somehow. They get on their own raft and follow you. So we might be seeing these wolves a couple more times, but eventually, I think we're going to head to or maybe it was that island because I can't hear it. An island that has wolves and snakes. Now, 3 wolves, you're not really going to be able to do anything about that. But if it's 1 wolf, you might be able to use the snakes to your advantage to at least keep the wolf away from you. Usually if a wolf gets bitten by a snake, it'll at least run away. It might come back, but at least it'll buy you some time if you want to go run around and see what you can collect. But with 3 wolves, your only recourse is, if you really want to get on an island, go around, is make a torch. Now, I did get my hands on some alcohol a couple islands back, but I went ahead and probably absent-mindedly made a bandage. I know at some point here I do have the opportunity to make a torch. But you definitely want to, especially on this run, you want to have a torch available. This is just 1 wolf here, so as long as he doesn't pursue us too harshly, our stamina can fill back up and we can kind of swat him away. We're probably going to get scratched once or twice here, but oh, and by the way, we did not have a full outfit. We were looking for the knit hat, and I believe we just found it. I believe it just happened. Yeah, so let's go. Yeah, so we have the knit hat, so we can finally make an insulated hat. And there we go. Put the insulated hat on. And I mean, does it make a world of difference? Not necessarily. But at the moment, it meets our needs, you know? We're not in super cold territories yet, but we're going to be eventually. So at least we're fully suited up now with insulated clothes. And a laceration that we fixed with a bandage there. I know somewhere along the line we had the goal to stop the bleeding, and I remember the reward was something useful, so we'll be collecting that very soon, I bet. The snakes get the better of me here. You really, yep, see, just got bit. Gotta keep your eyes open. Sometimes they hide in like the tiniest of corners. And I believe I'm not going straight for it. Sometimes I like to wait. You know, every snake bite needs to be treated separately. But sometimes I'll just run around and grab what I need to grab, and I'll try to be careful. But the dandelion tea that I have is back on the raft, as you can see right there. So here we're going to actually get our hands on some alcohol, and we're actually going to save one so that we can use it for a torch later, which is going to be nice. Don't have it yet though. I have it in my notes that I collected some alcohol, but I don't see it yet. Unless it's the next place that we go, maybe. Head back to the raft, get that dandelion tea. Anytime Scout gets wounded, whether it's a snake bite, whether it's a laceration, and certainly with a broken bone, it really drags her speed down, and it makes it hard to get around. So anytime you get hurt, you're kind of, the odds are against you at that point if you're trying to get away from an animal that's pursuing you. So keep that in mind, especially when you're up against 3 wolves. You don't want to just keep fighting your way through, because she's gonna move a little slower. Thankfully, if she gets hit again, she doesn't move even slower. But if she gets hit 3 times, she'll be crawling on the ground and she'll be dead within a few seconds. So you want to just make sure you keep an eye on all of that. Now would probably be a good time, since we got that snake bite, to finish talking about the animals that you're going to pursue, that you're going to come in contact with. You're not pursuing them because you can't kill any animals. But with the crow there and all the loud noises they're making, it reminded me a trophy that I struggled to figure out the first time I played this. And actually, when I played it on this account, I had forgotten, so I had to go back and read up on it. So it's the Deadeye trophy. Kill every animal type with arrows. Obviously, rabbits, boars, wolves, and bear, which is really difficult because if you don't have yourself set up in the proper way, you can kill it with a spear trap accidentally. If you can't land an arrow kill last, but you need to hit the bear twice with an arrow and 3 times with the spear traps in order to kill it. So you got to make sure that last arrow hits him last before he comes after you. I've died many times trying to hit a bear. But snakes count, but also crows. The crows, which, don't really affect you in the game. They sometimes announce to other animals that you're on the island. They'll wake up wolves, and the wolves will start coming because the crows are making noise. I don't think they warn boars or any other animals. The bear knows you're there before you get close. It has nothing to do with the crows. So, and you can't eat them. You can't really do anything else with them, but you can kill them with arrows, which sometimes, with the amount of noise they make, really feels good. But in this, I wouldn't try killing any crows with arrows, because I would assume, and I have not tested this out, but I would assume that that would void the animal friend trophy. Is what we're going for. Building a campfire here, and you're going to do this a couple times before we get the raft upgrade for the stove. Cook some yucca, warm up a bit. And of course the campfire you get for finishing the first goal of the game, which is to create the stone knife and stone hammer, I believe they're called. So if you keep that in your inventory for this long, then you're good to go. I believe it's saplings and tinder. That might just be all it is to create one. And you wanna make sure that you do it when it's not raining. But you know, if you build it and the rain puts it out, you can always relight it with more tinder. And campfires are always good for. See, as soon as I put the campfire up and I sleep, it rains. But they create a nice large area that will keep any animal out of it. That's always good to have. Also, I also grabbed charcoal from that campfire before I left. So that's another benefit of creating a campfire. Keep you warm, and it'll also give you an ingredient that you'll need for a water filter. And the rain also allowed us to fill up some water. You always want to look for the glowing things off the islands, tiny little islands, because we got jerky, which is fantastic. Again, jerky's not as filling as cooked meat. It's 20 points of health instead of 35 points of, nutrition, I guess. This is probably the best way to say it. And now we're entering hill country, which is the fourth region, and it is it's just a small story region. I mean, there's not really a story to really follow here, but it is a one-stop progression into the campaign, and we're going to meet Flim Flam. And we're going to reach higher ground, which is our first story goal. And if this is your first run of the campaign, if you happen to go for Animal Friend, or if you're watching this video because you're using this to just simply play through the game the first time, you'll get the trophy. Is it higher ground? Yeah, high ground. Reach high ground in the campaign mode. You'll get that once you complete scaling the structure on this island and reaching the top of and finding what the radio signal was. So here you have a mailbox. You have some crates to take some things from. You can get more tasks, you can collect, and there we collected a leather kit. And River Dock, which is one of the easiest goals. It's basically get on your raft and sail down the river, which is what you do throughout this game over and over again. There's always a campfire here too. So if you're looking for some warmth, or if you're looking to cook some food, probably didn't necessarily need to build that campfire at that church, but I also didn't know when I was going to end up in the fourth region, so it served its purpose. Flam Flam's over here. You don't actually have to talk to him here, but he'll give you a little bit of instruction on what he needs you to do. May as well. So he basically tells you head on up to the tower there and check it out, and then I'll open up the gate for you. And just run up this. I think I've tried to fall off it, just to see, one of those things that you always do in video games, just to see if you can fall off high areas, but I don't think it allows you to fall off, so you should be safe. Just run on up, and there you go. It tells you to go to the next the next spot that you're looking for. You completed radio signal, and for that you actually get another reward. And head on out to Angel Yards, which is I'm gonna guess it's Region 7. Yeah, seems about right. So you talk to Flim Flam there, and he'll give you a little bit more dialogue, and then he'll also, is it in the same conversation, or maybe you have to start it up with him again? He'll offer to, yeah, here we go. He trades you. He offers to trade you. Now he wants to give me a torch for jerky. I say no to that. And with that, we get a very loud noise coming here as it opens up the gate. And we're heading off to our next area. This game has a weird glitch that you're going to possibly run into in the, I think it's the next region that's kind of like the industrial region. We also got River Dock because, of course, we're on our raft. We're going down the river, and we're going to get two nice rewards for that. But speaking of loud noises, I wanted to cue you in on, because sometimes this game, the music is fantastic. And you can kind of get lost in it and just really kind of just chill out to it most of the time. There are some more upbeat, rhythmic songs that get you moving too. But sometimes this game is quiet. But there is a strange glitch coming up later. I wanted to point this out first. As I was floating down this kind of lazy river area where it's pretty safe to do this, I noticed I was hungry. One of the great features of this game, even when you're on the raft, and this is something you will definitely need to use when you go for your 10 miles without stopping. If you hold down L2, you can select kind of a drop-down menu of your items, and you can just simply go up or down to pick one and hit X, and you will use that item. So if it's food, you will eat it. If it's water, you'll drink it. If it's gas, you'll put it in the car to not the car, the raft, sorry. You put it in the raft to put more gas in the raft. It is a very useful tool to use. If I haven't pointed it out, maybe I did point it out in the first video. I'm not sure if I did. But it's a good way to keep your needs met while you're on the water. But you have to be careful, because as you are using that, thin gloves there. I guess we don't no longer need those. If you choose to do that, just be aware that while you're going through the action of eating or drinking or filling up the gas tank, anything else, you can't steer the raft. So don't try to access your inventory and use an item in your inventory on the raft right before you're about to hit an island or something, because you'll cause some damage to the raft. So keep that in mind. But again, it's a very useful way to manage your resources and to use something that you have while you're on the water. Another workbench here. Looking through what we can make. Not a lot of different items that you really are going to be using the workbench for in this run. As I said before, we have a leather kit that we got as a goal reward if we get our hands on some wolf hides. There's a boar. Of course, now that we've activated the boar, aggroed the boar, we're going to have a little bit harder time trying to get our gold rewards here. I'm able to grab them both without getting hit. raft schematic for reaching higher ground, and the stitching kit for river dock, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but whatever. It is what it is. Should be the other way around, but we have them now, so and we'll put them to use. So let me get back to what I was talking about before, the loud noise in this region. Sometimes when you're walking to the back area of some of these industrial area, islands with cranes and metal walls and things, even though there are quiet moments, sometimes you will just step into a little area on one of these islands where you will just hear a cacophony of noise. And I don't know if it's intentional to make you think that, people are still working on some of these islands and manufacturing goods. I don't know. I mean, obviously, this is a post-apocalyptic flooded world. I don't think warehouses are making products. But keep an eye out for that loud noise. If you'll notice, I just picked up some alcohol here and saw that there was 3 wolves, and I make a fatal mistake. I make a bandage and I lose my opportunity to make a torch. This is just, I mean, it's, you get into these modes and you get used to, once you have alcohol, once you have rags, that you make bandages just so you can accrue them because you're going to need them. But, and as I said in the last video, the torches was one of those last items that I would make in a run, just because I didn't find a lot of use for it. Because I would be using tainted meat to kill the wolves, and then taking their meat and making more tainted meat. And if I ran out of Devil's Trumpet, I would just ignore or maybe use spear traps. But I never really found a use for the torch. So when I came into this run, I was just so used to making bandages that I forgot to make the torch, and it would have been so much more useful than making another bandage. Because, I mean, yeah, I needed to make another bandage because I'm going to actually need a bandage. I'm going to need 2 of them here, so. But a torch would have allowed me to explore most of this island, if not all of it, without really having to worry about the wolves. So keep that in mind. But as I was saying, yeah, there's a weird sound file, either glitch or intentional loud clanging noise that you may come across in this region as you're exploring. Just keep your wits about you, and hopefully they won't scare you like it scared me when I first came upon it. This is an instance where, as you can hear the snakes hissing, while the rain makes it even harder to see them, we're going to check the mailbox here if we have anything to collect, and then get the field medic task or goal. But as you can see, there's 1 wolf and probably a number of snakes. We probably could have used the snakes to our advantage to try to take him down, but we failed to do so. And again, the rain makes it harder to see, and it's a little bit more chaotic. But just looking through some of the goals and some of the different things, field medic gives you a stitching kit. Fletcher, which is make the 5 arrows, gives you a raft schematic, but again, without the steel knife, not really going to do a lot of good for you. The boxer, making a box trap, gives you Devil's Trumpet. Kind of worthless. Devil's Trumpet isn't going to do you any good unless you want to eat it and get food poisoning. So not worth it there. Fixer-upper, or Fixer-up, I think that's what it's called, gives you a repair patch, which is pretty useful in this scenario, because you're going to get some kind of damage throughout the game. So being able to repair 40 points of damage with one item is definitely useful. And yeah, keep an eye on the rest of those goals, because they're definitely gonna benefit you. I think this is the final island, and I think I get hurt here and decide to call it a day, unless my timing's incorrect. Maybe we go to one more island, but you know, we're moving along. We got yeah. I don't think I stick around for this. You do go to one more island. You know, now we're in Region 5, Industrial. We're working on our raft. We're making some progress, heading down the raft, heading down the river on our way to Angel Yards. So with that, we're going to end here, and yeah, I'm pretty sure this is where I run into some issues, I think, with a snake or something. So good time to end it, and we will see you in the next video. And I hope this helps. And as I said before, if you have any other questions about the game, any other trophy you'd like to know how to do, how to fulfill the achievements for it, you know, feel free to write in the comments, and look out for the third video, and we'll be seeing you very soon. All right, thanks.